Ian Capstick.
Yeah, Julian Fantino's a hypocrite. I mean, it's that simple. He's always been a hypocrite. He was a hypocrite when he was the chief of police. He was a hypocrite when he was the minister of the crown. He is probably one of the least genuine actors in Canadian politics I've ever had the misfortune of crossing paths with. Julian Fantino, simply put, waged a war on drugs against racialized communities in Toronto that was unlike anything that that city ever saw before. It is unconscionable what he's doing right now. He's pathetic. He's a hypocrite. And he's what's wrong with Canadian politics.
Mr. Fantino, I'll ask you a blunt question. Have you tried marijuana?
No, I never have.
You've never smoked? You've never done any marijuana products?
Never.
Why do you think that it's okay?
Well, I suppose that I can rely very heavily on not only the experts, the scientists and the doctors, the medical profession, and that with whom I've had the opportunity to learn from and interact with. But more compelling than any of that has been the stories of real-life experiences by people who have been suffering from multiple different ailments and who have been helped greatly by medically ordered cannabis.
This is when you were a Minister of Veterans Affairs.
It did happen during that time when I was lobbied by various veterans groups to transition veterans from opiates and how much better they were being, the response was when they went on to medical cannabis. Eventually, the government ended up approving medical cannabis as opposed to opiates for these people.
And yet you said in 2015, I am completely opposed to the legalization of marijuana.
Yes, that was the issue at that time, and I was addressing a different era, a different time.
Well, that was less than 2 years ago. What was the different era then?
Well, the different era is that now it's being made a legal item, and so therefore there's no point in me arguing the issue. What I do think is important, though, is that if and when it becomes a legal commodity, that the concerns expressed to ensure that there be proper education.
Okay, but so just understands, you said before that you were completely opposed to the legalization of marijuana. You said that the Liberals' policy will make smoking marijuana a normal everyday activity for Canadians and make marijuana available in storefront dispensaries, make it available, and this is simply wrong. This is a quote, puts the health and safety of our children and our communities at risk.
Well, again, I go back to what I stated earlier, that in that era, there was no talk of legalization. Now it's a reality. It's going to happen. You have to separate out the legalization from what I'm involved in right now. I'm involved in the medical aspect that helps people greatly through the dispensing of medically prescribed marijuana, cannabis. People suffering from chronic pain, sleep deprivation, the post-events from cancer treatment. These are the things that we're involved in right now, and we'll have to wait and see how the rest of it shakes out.
Well, but this is not volunteer work you're doing. This is a company that you will make money from. So what is it? How will you capitalize on the legalization of marijuana?
Well, we're not looking to capitalize on anything right now. We're dealing with the medical aspect of cannabis. It's a comprehensive health approach to people's issues.
You are starting a health network that presumably you expect to profit from.
The health network has been started because of our motivation to help people. They can be helped in a different way than plying them with opiates.
And will you make money? Sir, let's just make it clear. You will make money from this, right? This is for profit.
We are a private company funded mainly by family and friends. And we're expecting at some point in time that it would be a profitable endeavor. It's a business, no doubt. We pay taxes. We're registered. We're running it as a business, and we'll see where that takes us.
No, but you can see where people's eyebrows are being raised. You, as chief of police in Toronto, you were very strict about drugs. You put people in jail. There are young people who are in jail because of people like you, who undoubtedly got involved in other things because you know what happens in jail. You don't see any contradiction between your past life as chief of police?
Not at all. Not at all. What I did in law enforcement, I subscribed and I followed my oath of office, the laws of the land. But you know what? You're making a huge mistake if you are to believe that I put everyone in jail that I came across that had marijuana. I gave all kinds of people all kinds of breaks, but we're talking about a different issue. We're talking about me today as a responsible, educated, informed citizen who's had the experience of knowing the benefits of medical cannabis for people who are suffering from ailments that are normally not well cared for by applying them with opiates. In
Okay,
fact,
but you knew this when you were in government, when you were with the Harper government. You said you learned from the vets that they needed this medication that was good for them. And yet you were part of a government that passed a law that put mandatory minimum sentences on people for having as few as 6 plants, that people went to jail, went to prison with 6-month sentences the courts had to give them because of a law you passed, even as you knew, according to what you've told us, that this was something of benefit to vets.
Well, I can tell you right now that we're talking about medical cannabis. You're making...
It was at that time, too. If someone was growing plants for medical reasons, when you passed Bill C-10, that wasn't an argument. They would go to jail if they had 6 plants. Is that not true, Mr. Fantino?
All I'm telling you is that what we did was to help veterans and now we're helping others who are benefiting greatly from the medical cannabis availability, and the response from those people who are coming through our clinic is absolutely invigorating.
All right, you see that now, and you say you saw that then. See, this is what's key here. You said you saw that when you were Minister of Veterans Affairs. You knew how much it helped people. Did you or did you not support the Harper government's law, Bill C-10, that made mandatory minimum sentences for as few as 6 plants, the war on drugs, the Harper war on drugs? Did you support it?
There was no Harper war on drugs.
I'm asking you a question. Did you support the mandatory minimum sentences for people for as few as 6 plants going to prison?
I'm afraid I can't answer that question wholly because there were more issues attached to that particular bill. And
it was so controversial. There were people across the country.
I don't want to have an argument with you about what you understand and what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm involved in helping people with my colleagues who are reputable people. You want to throw up the past and all these different nuances. I'm telling you that what I'm doing today is helping people. We at Aleafia, along with my colleagues, have exposed ourselves to the benefits of all of this. That's what we're doing now. I can also tell you that part of our work at Aleafia is to advance the science, to do research, to actually do what we can to help people get off of opiates, which is an epidemic in this country.
Well, can I put to you that it appears that you've had your change of heart since you saw a business opportunity for yourself?
Well, you can appear to say what you want, and I'll repeat myself. We are involved with very ethical, honorable people, financed totally by family and friends who believe, and as we do, in the benefits of medical cannabis to help people suffering from various ailments and trying to lessen the dependency on opiates, which is a tragedy in this country.
But you do expect to make money from this?
Well, if there's money to be made, there's investors that have put their trust in us, and I think we owe them a return if a return is available. But that's their concern. It isn't about money. I mean, you can frame it any way you want, but you will never be able to take away my integrity with respect to what I'm doing now, what I've done in the past.
All right, Mr. Fantino, thank you.
You're welcome.